Hi everyone. Today, as all of you may know, Meghan went to Texas for the SXSW, which I think stands for South by Southwest or whatever, the keynote panel. And I haven't watched all of it. I only watched snippets of it. So we're gonna take a look at this for the first time. I think it's gonna be so cringy, but at the same time, we'll have lots of laughs. So win-win for all of us.
The moderator's chair today. A feminist and champion of human rights and gender equity, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is a New York Times best-selling author.
When was she a New York best-selling author? From Bench? I don't think so. Unless she's riding off the coattails of Harry Spare book. I seriously doubt she was ever a best-selling author. And why does she always have to pin the word feminist like right after her name? And her name, they specifically said Meghan the Duchess of Sussex, not Meghan Markle, Meghan Duchess of Sussex, of course. And then, yep, creepy smile coming right up.
And co-founder of the Archwell Foundation and Archwell Productions. Her influence extends across various...
Oh my goodness, everything about this is so ruffled. I was just going to comment about what she said during this panel, but even just coming out, the blouse, the flowy skirt, it's gray and it's wrinkled. It looks like college student sweatpants. I'm sorry, but maybe even college student sweatpants would be better than this, right? This is like nightwear. So much for not wearing colors, huh, Meghan?
various sectors from entertainment to philanthropy, making her a driving force for positive change.
All right, this is a fun one for me. Katie Couric is an award-winning journalist, best-selling author, founder of Stand Up to Cancer, and co-founder of Katie Couric Media. Katie's extensive career spans journalism, cancer advocacy, documentaries, and scripted projects that focus on addressing important social issues like gender equality and gun violence.
With a career that began in childhood and continues to thrive across multiple industries.
Just an amazing way. Incredible. Well, thank me if this is a good study of motherhood in television. Can you tell us about why this project interested you and what the study found? You guys will tell me if this is a good volume then. Yes? Okay. Well, thank you. And I'm so excited to be here and to be.
Why did she start that off with like a mic check? That was weird. And what is this? What is this? Did she like not sew an extra button?
With such incredible women, so much brilliance on this panel, and just an amazing way to celebrate International Women's Day. So thank you all for coming to listen. Yes, as you were saying, the Gina Davis Institute and Moms First released this report, and my husband and I, our foundation, the Archwell Foundation, helped to fund it.
I just love her title. It's not Meghan Markle, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex.
And my husband and I, our foundation, the Archwell Foundation, helped to fund it because I think from our standpoint, and certainly from mine, there are three key reasons why it felt vital to see the information they were going to be pulling through this report. So on a personal level,
like, she didn't give any examples. It was just everything's really personal, and again, her word salads, right? And pulling Harry into their initiatives, their global initiatives with Archwell. I mean, give me a break.
I've just always loved understanding women and our stories and our lived experiences and our shared experiences. So I was really curious to see what the report was going to uncover in terms of, oftentimes as women, you may agree with this, the way that we see ourselves is reflected back to us. Sometimes accurately and sometimes much to our disservice.
Oh my goodness. What am I doing? Over the past couple of years, Meghan has learned nothing from any of her speeches. She's just continuously spewing word salad because that's the only thing that she knows how to do, like project empty words. But if you read what she says on black and white text, none of it is substance, unlike previous keynote speakers that she spoke with, like Melody Hobson. She actually gave credible and solid finance and leadership advice, whereas over the past years, unless it's talking about the Eastward stuff, the rest is all empty words.
Accurately in what we see in media. And so to be able to have the findings to uncover what we can do to propel that, to make sure women are really feeling seen in a way that is reflective of who.
Yep, she really does want to feel seen, especially in parking lot pap shoots.
Who and how we are and how we move through the world felt important. From a philanthropic standpoint with our foundation, there's obviously a lot of work to be done in terms of supporting women and moms. You can begin with paid leave and, and just really looking at, one of the findings actually said that working moms are paid 62 cents to the dollar for what working dads are. And it's almost feeling punitive at a certain point when you're a mom and you're juggling so much and carrying so much and you want to be supported in the best way possible. So it's those reasons. And we have a production company, and as we build out our slate and have projects that we're doing, or with podcasts.
I feel like she's the only one who isn't quite qualified on this panel to talk about this subject, because you have other people who are, I think one of them is an actress, Katie Couric is a journalist slash interviewer. Like, they definitely do handle being a working mom, but what has Meghan been doing these past few years? Like, does she actually have the credentials to be speaking about this topic?
As well, to ensure that we are responsibly filling in the roles of moms and women to be reflected in a way that's accurate. So this report, I think, is really valuable, and just proud we could support it.
I just want to say she's got a lot of bronzer on today. Like, what's up with that?
As they should.
Meghan, will you tell the story about when you wrote that letter to P&G? Because I don't know if...
Oh my gosh. Stop it. Oh my goodness, we've heard that 1,000 times. Is she like even saying this sarcastically? From Meghan, we've heard nothing more than the P&G commercial. My goodness, stop it. Even though she spews empty word salads, I was thinking we won't get a repeat of the commercial. It's been, couple months, couple years since we've heard that. Please don't bring it up.
Meghan, will you tell the story about when you wrote that letter to P&G? Because I don't know if everyone's heard it, but it's such a great story at a very young age, what you did.
That's so fun.
Thomas Markle has already disputed that he was the one who got the connection with Nickelodeon, and he was the one that set up the recording, so it was basically fabricated.
Yes,
I just disrupted the flow. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good.
But go ahead.
Have a conversation.
That's what I love about interviewing Katie. I think it's okay. Let's jump in here.
I was 11 years old, about 11 years old, and I had seen a commercial on TV for a dishwashing liquid, and the boys in my class at the time said, it said, women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans. And the boys said, yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen. And at 11, I just found that infuriating and wrote lots of letters and put pen to paper, and they ended up changing the commercial to people all over America. And,
it's a bit scary to think, like, a grown woman is still believing that, and, like, she was, like, what, 11, and she's telling it with the expression that looks like she's telling it for the first time. It's scary. Like, she and Harry are both delusional.
It's funny to look back at it now, because that was...
It is funny to us now.
For social media, where you had a reach that was so much greater. It was just an 11-year-old with a pen and paper. But it just, I guess, goes to show that if you know that there's something wrong and you're using your voice to advocate in the direction of what is right, that can really land and resonate and make huge change for a lot of people. So your voice is not small. It just needs to be heard.
Yeah, this is where we're...
Oh my goodness. I want to gag. Your voice is not small. It just needs to be heard. Oh, she might have prepared that in the mirror.
This is one of the ways we're very different. When I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. So,
Okay, bro.
I wished I'd known
where
you.
we're going here.
When
I like her. At least she seems much more personable. If Meghan was 1/5 personable as she is, then she might have had a better route with most people. But no, she's reciting her dishwashing soap commercials.
when I was
A little
11,
different.
I would have been writing very different letters, but equally important, I hope.
Wow. 11-year-old Brooke and 11-year-old Megan, this one's for you. Speaking of which, we know that the situation is no better on film. Nancy, we have a recent study
Add to the representation we're seeing.
has increased as we head into Oscar weekend. Do you think that this indicates a go-to place for girls and women to be scrutinized, objectified, bullied, right? And unfortunately, I know that this is something that you are all too familiar with. So how have you been able to manage the seemingly endless toxicity that comes at you?
Yes, social media is a environment that I think has a lot of that. It's really
Look at that with that rapid blinking and the long pause. She must have took a crash course on acting the previous night.
interesting as I can reflect on it. I keep my distance from it right now just for my own well-being, but the bulk of the bullying and abuse that I was experiencing in social media and online was when I was pregnant with Archie and with Lily and with a newborn with each of them. And you just think about that,
I'm glad she remembered the other one.
and you to really wrap your head around why people would be so hateful. It's not catty, it's cruel. Why you would do that? And certainly when you're pregnant or you have a newborn, we all, as moms, it's such a tender and sacred time. And I think, you could either succumb to it or nearly succumb to how painful that is. And maybe in some regards, because I was pregnant, that mammalian instinct just kicked in. Do everything you can to protect your child. And
Wasn't she the one that told Harry that she didn't want to stay alive? He wrote that in his book. So what is she talking about? This mammalian instinct to fight for her children.
as a result, protect yourself too. But, I think as we look at what's happening in social media, there is so much work to be done in terms of keeping people safe. And that starts as we see what's happening with children and their exposure to things, but also just creating these habits that what I find the most disturbing, frankly, especially as a supporter of women, is how much of the hate is women completely spewing that to other women. And I cannot make sense of that.
Okay, here she goes. I'm just thinking back to her line, as a woman supporting women. Like, who does that in everyday conversation? How do you phrase it? Like when you're talking to your friends about something and this I cannot condone because I, as a supporter of women, like she needs a reality check. And also the topic about women spewing hate against other women, it's not about gender. It's about analyzing her character, and her character is clearly not up to par. So, and again, like in previous situations from Harry and Meghan, especially in the World Mental Health Day conference, they were talking about censorship. And again, she's talking about censorship as well. If there are any comments or advice regarding what they've done and their actions, they just want to completely shut it down. Like in the New York school that they went to, they not only silenced the parents, they silenced the children, which I think is going a step too far. So, yeah, they just want the celebrity life without the constraints or the responsibility of owning up to your actions, which is complete hypocrisy.
because I understand that there's certain platforms. Look, today's a really good example. This is being streamed on one of those platforms, and it's also fantastic because people are going to have access to hear all of this brilliance and all of this insight. And at the same time, it's a platform that has quite a bit of hate and rhetoric and incentivizes people to create pages where they can churn out very, very inciting comments and conspiracy theories that can have a tremendously negative effect on someone's mental health, their physical safety. So I think we have to really take a look at that when we're talking about how many women are in leadership positions, as you're saying in broadcast. There are a lot of women that are at the highest level, executive level, who are great champions of women, who are great philanthropists, and they are working in these spaces, and yet they're allowing this kind of behavior to run rampant. And at a certain point, they have got to put the do's behind the says.
Have you heard of that saying before? What's do's behind the says? Every now and then she just brings up a golden nugget. I want to, you know what? I really want to give it a try. Like, when I go out, when I have conversations with my friends, I'm just gonna use a Meghan line every now and then they'll want to put me in a mental asylum as a supporter of women, or you gotta put the do's behind the says.